Greetings Internet, welcome to Aaron Plays. In this episode we will be doing the June 10th refit and regroup phase. We've managed to do all the daylight movement and attack phase in the prior episode because it was a short turn for the first time. It actually only went for 5 impulses. However, in that the allies are linked up. Karen 10 is held on by the edge of the nails by the Germans. The victory point total is currently at 6. The Germans have the advantage. So it's the Germans to do their refit first. They have now, as the weather was clear throughout, they have only 5 replacements per counter, and we need to get some of these boys back into fighting strength. The Allies didn't get a chance to do anything around this. This maybe was a little bit of a mistake, that they focused so much on that link up that the Germans can really bolster this area again. So they've got 5 supplies. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units replenished in Caen. Righto. And now the surrounding areas. 1, 2. Pick some of that artillery. 3, 4. Actually, 3, 4. That's 1 left over. 5 over here. 1, 2. 3, 4. 2 lots of 1s left over. Added to the supply track. However, that only leaves 3 lots of 5 left, and we need to do definitely something in and around the Caen area. The Karen 10 area. So we'll put 5 in Pétiers here. Turn over some of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from the 3rd Fallschirmjäger. Another 5 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'll leave the last 5. Maybe at the top here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It don't go very far when the weather's clear, but hopefully far enough, especially reinforced in Caen. Karen 10 will now, probably get the first impulse to get some more Germans into there. Right, and now the Allied refit phase. Okay, so Utah. Can't bring it into a contested area, so we'll bring it into here. So each one of these will cost 2 to turn over. 2, 4, 6. 8, 10. 246. We've got air supply. We will try and air supply into Karen 10. Air supply is contested by the Germans, so it's +3. Now the area is controlled by the Germans, it's +2. Got to be a 7 for each unit. None of them are disrupted. There was no overcast, so it's +2 for each. There are 4 of them. So red, white, blue, green in that order. Right, red doesn't, white does, blue doesn't, green does. There's only a maximum of 4 units can get a supply, so 2 managed to achieve it. Right, so that was 246. There's still 4 left from Utah. They all turn over these 3. Artillery. That leaves 1 left, which isn't enough to do anything there, so we'll put 1 onto the actual track. Omaha, however, bring in 20 supply. We put 10 into cats and flip over those. That's another 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the other 10 will come into Insignia for 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Germans nearly fully supplied, so the 5 goes onto the supply track. So the Americans are on 13, or the Allies are on 13 supply, Germans on 7 at present. Okay, so moving over to the British supply. There's very few British units depleted because the British didn't do much last turn. They sat on their butts. But we can definitely bring in 10 into here. Remove each one of those will cost 3. Adjacent area, removing it and disruption. That's 9, so it leaves 1 goes through the supply track. But the other 20, there is nothing to recover. So there's another 20 goes on the supply track. So the Allied supply track is actually sitting on 34 to the German 7. So we know that June the 11th is going to be overcast. Do we spend that 30 points now? I think so. So we push back the impulse marker all the way to the sea as far as it can go. So the Allies are going to have at least 3, 4, 6 impulses before they get worried about the dice ending the actual phase. That particular phase next turn. Okay, it's now the night regroup phase. So let's remove all the actual supply counters first. So the Germans to regroup first. So we're going to pull out an armoured unit from Caen. Move a flak unit around. I think we're okay there. We know that the Germans are going to be going first. Next impulse, that's when we can get as many units as we can in here. Make sure we're not overstacked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And maximum stacking, and 10. So we will move these two into here, so there's actual space here. One of the units will go into there. Everything else is looking okay along. Yeah, that looks fine from the German point of view. Now the Allies. Okay. Do they need to do any changes? The British look fine. To be honest, maybe core artillery move over for the Americans. And we have a big push for quarantine on both sides again by the looks of it. The rest of the front from the American point of view looks fairly stable. Yeah, it's the 1st Division with its artillery into there. 2nd Division with its artillery will stay in Insigny, so the 2nd Division defending the front there. Still didn't use this American armoured unit. Let's move it forward. Still no real threat that the Germans can mount from an offensive capability, as historically most of their strength is staying focused here to stop the British, which gives the Americans the freedom to do what they want to do, and tries as much as the Germans can get units across. It's not helping that the British keep their attention on the situation in and around Caen. Okay, so that's the night regroup phase done. So this has been a very short video. So let's just move that back to there. So Breakout Normandy is showing again a nice picture of the game box, and give you some of my thoughts. Back to me. Well, okay, it's been a lively 10th of June. The Germans digging in as best they can in and around quarantine have managed to hold on, but there's now pretty much 2 divisions of US troops in that area. The Germans will be able to reinforce, but they'll be reinforcing, of course, with spent units. They can't really launch an attack there. So again, it's delaying the almost inevitable, which I feel is what the Germans are doing all the way through. They never seem to have the strength to mount an offensive. Now, on the 11th of June, they're getting a lot more reinforcements, but again, those guys have got to get there. True, the weather's going to be overcast, but they're not going to be able to get there in an offensive capacity. They're only going to get there in a defensive capacity. If they get into any space, they're going to be tarnished because they're going to be spent. So, which will then mean they're going to start to launch an offensive maybe on the 12th, on the last day of this game. However, that's clear. So, whatever they attack, the Allied air power is going to curtail their enthusiasm very quickly. So, yeah, but it's still fun to play the Germans. They're still, they're always, can I hold on? Can I hold on with less troops? Can I move them around? It's always a question. And from a solo perspective, two totally different play styles. I tried to be quite aggressive with the Allies, and it seems to have been worked. True, their dice have been better on average than the Germans, I would say. But you can't be totally gung-ho. You've got to leave something to cover a defence, just in case that the Germans can manage to scrape the barrel and find something. So it's proving to be an interesting game from my point of view. I hope from your point of views as well, you've been thoroughly enjoying it. There are 2 days left, the 11th and the 12th. So I look forward to doing those, and I hope you guys will look forward to watching them. Until next time, bye internet.